Before I start, I just would like to ask everyone if we can take a moment, just a moment of silence to ground ourselves. I wanted to show you what exactly we're fighting for. It's this earth, the air we breathe, the very reason why we're here. But I'll introduce myself. Wache, Ramon Karakopit, Nishnakasawan, Arawaska Dostring, Miksototam. Hello, I'm Ramon Karakopit. I'm from Arawaska First Nation. I'm a part of the Eagle Clan. And I'm the founder of the Okinawa Youth-led movement. We sprung into action as soon as Bill 5 came into passing last summer. And we created a youth movement to where the youth could join together and give each other a platform to speak without having to go through a political entity or through a chief. Because we noticed what was at stake and what the idea of prosperity was for our youth versus the idea of prosperity from the former government or the idea of prosperity from the chief's point of view. And we've held major rallies. Maybe some of you have been a part of it. We held it at Queen's Park. We held it in Ottawa at Parliament Hill. We held it in our First Nations up north. We held it in the city like Kingston. And now we're here, being able to stand in solidarity with everyone else. Because we have something coming for us. Something that's already here. This company, Wailu, and many other mining companies are coming to infringe on our rights, but also the health of our land up in Treaty 9 territory. They call it the Ring of Fire, but it's not the Ring of Fire, it's the breathing lands. It's the lungs of Ontario, it's the lungs of Canada, the lungs of North America. But that's also our home. To us, it's not just minerals, to us, it's not just diamonds, to us, it's just not whatever's under the ground. But to them, it's money, money, and money. And we've been burnt heavily before in the past with mining companies. So we know exactly what's to come, especially when you have unregulated development, and especially when you have mining companies lobbying the government so that they can bypass environmental regulations. But also bypass the sacred agreement that we have with Canada, which is our treaty. A treaty of co-jurisdiction. But when I see the idea of prosperity, and when I ask the youth what it means to them, they want to protect their land. We've spoken to thousands and thousands of youth, and you know what they tell us? You know what they say at the rallies? You know what they say to us on social media? They want to protect what's sacred to them up there, because this is an agreement from us to the Creator, to the land that's been passed down for generations and generations. I'm standing here with my cousin right now. We're some of the first generations outside of that assimilation process that's affected us heavily. So not only did we carry that, but we also carry the gift. The gift to speak, the gift to have people to listen to us instead of hear us. Because there's a difference between listening to someone versus hearing them. And I just want to ask, at least for the next few moments, if you can listen to us and what we have to share. Soon, this will lead into something much bigger than just us protecting the land, but protecting our right to be here. We see it happening all over the world, where governments are going after people for the land that they sit on, or for who they are. And then we come from many generations where that's happened to us. Generations of genocide, generations of stealing, generations of displacement. But the reason why we're so strong in this generation is because we have something called the seventh fire. The seventh fire is a prophecy that says that one day this new generation of youth will come and create big change for the world. Great change. And we're a part of that change, and it's up for us to lead a good legacy for the next generation. Because I know that my ancestors did the same, By signing that treaty, they thought about me, they thought about us, they thought about you. But this current day modern government does not want to honor this treaty. It's just dollars for them. But we're going to show them in our lifetime just how important it is for us to protect where we are, protect our home, and protect the rights that we carry. You know, it's one thing to speak, but I want to see people mobilize. I've seen speeches so many times, time and again, from our leadership that they say that they're going to stand for the land, stand for their rights. But I haven't seen much action. But you know who I see action from the most is the youth. I've seen action from us taking those steps to actually stand up and unify, even though unity is hard. Everyone has different ideals, everyone comes from different backgrounds, everyone has different teachings and understanding. But I know the common ground that we all can stand on together is protecting what's important to us. And what's important to you. You don't have to follow the next big thing, but you can take the next step yourself. And I want to inspire you to take that next step yourself, whatever you think that is. And I want to cut my time short and read a message from one of our other founders of Okinawa. I saw corporations strip farmers of water and eventually of land. Saw them transform our land into a machine fueled by people's crushed spirits, broken dreams, and empty pockets. Corporations have long controlled our lives, taking lots. They're killing our earth and leaving emissions for all of us to breathe in. They're raping our land and having no real consultation with our people. I fight for the land not because capitalism is a thorn in my side or out of nostalgia for Canada's gone by. This fight is a people's fight against a system that spiraled out of our control. I will always speak on behalf of this earth because it is only the earth we got. And that's from Jonathan and Oshudo. Let's say it much. Thank you.
Bill C5. And this summer, we spent 6 months on the Attawapiskat River. And after the passing of those bills, I told my parents, I told my community that we can't stand by any longer. And I said, we need to go to where it's happening, right there on the land. So we traveled almost 800 kilometers up the Attawapiskat River by canoe to establish a camp right in the middle of the Ring of Fire. You know, I grew up on the land all my life. I'm 21 years old. And standing here, you know, I'm thinking about just 4 days earlier, I was on the mouth of the Attawapiskat River. And just a couple of months before that, I was on the lake of Attawapiskat River, both ends of the Attawapiskat River. And I was sitting there, and I was listening, looking around my surroundings of the untouched, pristine, intact lands. One of the last areas like this you could find on planet Earth. And I was looking, and I was listening. And you know what I heard? I heard nothing. I just saw home. The land, the water that my ancestors grew up on, that my father grew up on, and his father before, that my mother grew up on, and her parents therefore before. And you know, this is much bigger than just the minerals in the ground, than just a single mine. It's about who we are, both as Indigenous people and as non-Indigenous people. This is about the future of all our people, wherever you come from, wherever you are. And what's going to happen next is going to require all of us to stand together. And I thought, both on the land and even here, right here too. Because what's at stake for me, my family, my community, at its most bare bones is home. Where I come from. For our people, everything comes from the land, the language, the culture, the history, the stories, our ancestry. And that's what my cousin was saying here earlier as well. It's also known as the peatlands, one of the last remaining ecosystems like this you can find on the planet that sequesters 5 times more carbon per square meter than the Amazon rainforest. And it's right here, one of the last places you would ever expect it to be, in Ontario, Northern Ontario, a place like this that has been overlooked for generations. I could stand here all day talking about details from my home, and it's beautiful, and it's where I'm from, my community, my people, my home. And what comes next is going to be a long run, maybe going back on the river again when I return to my community. And we're going to be there for as long as it takes, however long it takes. Now I'm in university, or I was, then I had to leave it to focus on this. I told my community and my parents that that's my first education up there on the land. Traveling hundreds of kilometers, sometimes up for weeks and months at a time. It's hard to imagine that, eh? Spending 4 weeks in the middle of the bush, surviving off of caribou, geese, getting your own snow, going around. That's my life. And that's my community's lifestyle as well. That's who we are. And this affects not only us, but everyone on the planet. This is just as much an indigenous issue as it is a climate one, as it is a humanitarian one. This affects every single one of us. And what we do and our response to what comes next is going to be a defining moment for all our people, wherever you are, whoever you are, wherever you come from. And we're going to have to stand together. And what better time to stand together than now? And what better place to talk about protecting our environment, our climate, our home, than right here, of all places. And we got to do it together. Mammo. That's what they call it in my language. Mammo. Together. Anyways, I think I'll leave that for now.
Hearing the language and your accent, it brings that piece of home in my heart to me, to ground me. So thank you. I was raised in the city away from community and the language. So thank you so much. I love hearing that, and thank you so much for the work that you do. I mean, please follow them on social media, Okiniwak and Here We Stand. Geronimo and their family went on a canoe, on a boat, 2 weeks to, down the river. That is amazing. Woo! Wow, thank you. And thank you, Ramon and Kira, so much for your work.
Just want to say one more reminder of one thing that really captures how our people think, both on the Attawabsgat and the Neskanta. And that's, this is the way we always taught, and I always taught to my parents and their parents before, and it goes like this: the land, the water, this planet, this earth, it's not given to you by your parents, but it's loaned to you by your children. And that's why we have to take care of it. Anyways, yeah, thank you.